turns out Prince Harry and Meghan Markle will still get paid millions of dollars for doing absolutely nothing.
My brother's fiancée, Miss Meghan Markle, is on the American program Suits.
Yes, Wednesdays, 8 p.m, USA Network.
The only difference between that show and this is people watch this one.
I said Meghan Markle is, of course, a lifelong feminist, which she's demonstrated by marrying a prince and giving up her job.
If you had lunch with Meghan Markle, you'd be stunned at how dumb she was. Not because she's black, because I wouldn't think she was black if I looked at her, because she's an actress who was on the show Suits.
Take the snack out of one bag and then move them into another bag and then label this new bag, even though this bag already has a label.
Or a duchess of the UK, and you can't even get a deal with people that are investing in businesses with a title. You can't get that. It's hopeless.
A lot of public figures learn the hard way that comedians are not an easy crowd to win over. When something in pop culture starts looking a little unusual or overly dramatic, comedians tend to jump on it fast. They have big audiences, quick punchlines, and the freedom to say things in ways that regular commentators usually can't. And over the past few years, Meghan Markle has become one of those topics that late-night hosts and comedy shows keep circling back to again and again. Across late-night television, podcasts, and even animated comedy shows, different comedians have shared their takes on Meghan's public image. Some focus on the contrast between privacy discussions and frequent media appearances. Others joke about how the couple's move to California placed them right in the center of entertainment culture. Whether viewers agree with those jokes or not, the reactions have created plenty of viral moments online. That's what this video is about. We're walking through several moments where well-known comedians commented on Meghan Markle during their shows. Some of these jokes came from late-night hosts who built entire segments around the topic, while others slipped quick punchlines into monologues that audiences immediately picked up on.
And I know some people are disappointed by the name Archie, but there's one person who's super excited, the Queen. Yeah, because you know for the last 9 months, she's been like, please don't be Jamal.
What is the number one question that mystifies scientists?
Is there life on another planet?
Oh no, why does Meghan Markle make her own pretzel bags? They don't know why.
That's interesting. She takes it from one bag and puts it in another bag.
There's another bag.
And that confuses.
One of the early waves of jokes came from late-night television when hosts began reacting to Meghan's lifestyle content and brand ideas. Jimmy Fallon, for example, joked about some of the more extravagant presentation styles that appeared in lifestyle clips circulating online. At the time, one particular moment involving a carefully styled snack bag quickly became internet material, with people sharing edits and parodies everywhere. Soon enough, social media started amplifying those jokes. Comedy sketches popped up recreating overly elegant routines, things like treating simple household moments as if they were luxury rituals. In one parody, someone pretended to prepare water with flower petals floating on.
The 60 Minutes interview was a great chance to hear Harry and Meghan's story in case you missed their 2-hour sit-down with Oprah or their 6-part Netflix documentary.
Meghan Markle has finally revealed why she and Prince Harry call each other M and H.
Mm-hmm. And he'll say M and you'll say H and your friends say M and it just is a thing.
It's a thing.
And do you both love it?
Yes, and I like nicknames a lot.
Top, as if ordinary tap water somehow needed a royal makeover. It was exaggerated humor, of course, but the visual style made it perfect for comedy. Many of these sketches didn't just aim for random laughs. Some comedians hinted that they were poking fun at what they saw as a pattern in celebrity branding, the balance between relatability and luxury. When someone's image mixes both at the same time, comedians often see it as perfect setup material. Another moment that kept getting mentioned was the couple's highly publicized media appearances. After the well-known interview with Oprah Winfrey and the release of their Netflix documentary series, there were still more interviews and projects on the horizon. Some commentators began wondering out loud whether the media spotlight had become part of the brand itself. Stephen Colbert even joked during a monologue that certain royal nicknames were being treated like dramatic secrets, even though they were basically just initials. And the late-night commentary didn't stop there. Trevor Noah also joked about how Hollywood networking sometimes works in unexpected ways. One story that circulated involved conversations at film premieres about voiceover opportunities, something comedians framed as a surprising twist for people once connected to royal traditions. As Trevor Noah joked during one segment, the journey from royal ceremonies to entertainment auditions is definitely a storyline nobody predicted.
What could it be? A mystery for the ages.
Prince Harry really did that. At a movie premiere last year, he asked the CEO of Disney to hook his wife up with voiceovers. Gotta admit, the monarchy has fallen off, right? No, because back in the day, it used to be like, if you marry my daughter, I'll give you Burgundy.
By this point, multiple late-night hosts had joined the conversation. The jokes kept evolving as new headlines appeared and audiences seemed fascinated by the unusual mix of royalty, celebrity branding, and Hollywood culture. Even Jimmy Kimmel later joined in with his own comedic take, hinting that the couple's decision to step away from royal duties created a storyline comedians simply couldn't resist talking about. As the conversation around Meghan Markle and Prince Harry kept growing, comedians found even more material to work with. One moment that sparked endless commentary was the couple's famous interview with Oprah Winfrey. During that conversation, they spoke openly about difficult experiences within the royal institution, including claims about how they were treated behind the scenes. Supporters saw it as a chance for them to share their side of the story, while critics questioned the timing and the way it was presented. Naturally, late-night comedians jumped into the discussion almost immediately. For many comedy writers, the interview became a perfect setup for punchlines. The idea that a couple could step away from royal duties and then give one of the most watched television interviews in the world created a contrast that comedians couldn't ignore.
And now it's like, my wife actually does a pretty good Timon. You should hear her. Come on, baby, do the thing. Hakuna Matata, do the thing.
Harry said racism was a big part of their decision to leave, which you know things are bad at Buckingham Palace if they came to America to get away from racism. It's Harry, whose memoir just broke the Guinness record for fastest selling nonfiction book of all time. The story of Prince Harold and his frozen yogurt slinger is so popular, they're now releasing a version for kids. I don't know if you know about this. It's a twist on The Princess and the Pea. It's called The Prince and the Penis, and it's
In their routines, some hosts joked that the move to California suddenly looked less like a quiet retreat and more like a full-scale media moment. Whether fair or not, the situation quickly became a recurring topic in monologues. Then Prince Harry's memoir added another wave of comedic reactions. When the book was released, it was meant to explain his personal experiences and perspective on royal life. But on late-night television, it also became the subject of several parody segments. Instead of serious analysis, some hosts turned specific anecdotes into comedic bits, reading passages with exaggerated dramatic flair. What was intended as a heartfelt memoir sometimes ended up sounding like a sketch when comedians got involved. That's when Conan O'Brien joined the conversation, and his style of humor tends to lean toward the absurd. During one segment, Conan joked about royal history and celebrity culture colliding in unexpected ways. The bit wandered into strange territory involving wax museum versions of famous figures, and the joke kept escalating with each line.
I was curious what they did with Harry and Meghan's wax figures, so I found a museum employee who's temporarily storing them.
Earlier today, Suits actress Meghan Markle married some unemployed dude who still lives with his grandma.
Time, I just woke up, I'm in my underwear, I plop down in front of the TV, I turn it on. The moment I turn it on, Prince Harry's talking shit about me. He's like, Joe Rogan's giving out dangerous vaccine misinformation. First thought was, did I? I might have, but here's my take on that, sincerely. If you're getting your vaccine advice from me, is that really my fault?
The audience laughed, but you could also feel that classic Conan energy where the humor becomes intentionally awkward and over the top. Moments like that show how comedy can take a topic somewhere completely unpredictable. When public figures become part of pop culture discussions, comedians often exaggerate every detail for laughs. Sometimes the jokes are sharp observations, and other times they drift into surreal sketches that feel almost unbelievable. But late-night monologues were only the beginning. The conversation reached another level when Saturday Night Live started referencing the royal couple during its famous Weekend Update segment. Colin Jost and Michael Che are known for turning current events into fast punchlines, and the story surrounding Harry and Meghan gave them plenty to work with. Over the years, SNL has built a reputation for placing major public figures into its comedy rotation whenever headlines keep coming. In earlier sketches and update segments, the show even joked about the royal wedding itself. At the time, Michael Che delivered a memorable punchline that humorously simplified the grand royal ceremony into something much more ordinary.
She has connections. She has people whose necks she can step on to get to the next level. She does not care about other human beings. She only wants power. And the only way that she feels that she can get it is by leveraging her relationships with certain people. That's not friendship.
Meg does her little phony like, I'm so busy just doing like so much wealthy stuff. I have the show, the podcast, I'm a duchess, I have all this wealth. It's just so many busy things as a wealthy person.
So busy.
It was so fake. I was like, oh.
Since then, the comedy world has continued revisiting the topic whenever new headlines appear. Writers often point out what they see as contradictions between privacy discussions and frequent media appearances, or between royal traditions and Hollywood-style branding. Whether viewers laugh, disagree, or roll their eyes, one thing is clear. Once comedians start turning a public story into recurring punchlines, it tends to stay part of the pop culture conversation for a long time. Once the jokes started spreading across late-night television, another group of comedians stepped in, stand-up performers. And stand-up is a completely different environment. Unlike network TV, where there are tighter rules and time limits, stand-up specials give comedians far more freedom to speak openly and push their punchlines much further.
Prince Harry at number 3. All right, we got 2 and 1 left. Who's gonna be number 2? Diddy made it at number 2. Wow, who's number 1? Who's number 1? She's not caring about what people thinks. Oh, yeah, right. God, I can't even. These two, Meghan and Harry, are the worst.
That's where some of the most direct commentary about the royal story began to appear. One of the most talked about moments came when Chris Rock opened a Netflix special by diving straight into the topic. Right from the start, he addressed the situation with his signature style, sharp, blunt, and delivered with that rhythm audiences know well. Instead of dancing around the subject, he joked about how the royal family has a long and complicated history that's widely known around the world. His punchline suggested that anyone marrying into such a famous institution probably understands that history comes with the territory. Chris Rock framed the idea in a way that got a huge reaction from the audience. He pointed out that the history of the monarchy isn't exactly hidden away. Books, documentaries, and school lessons have covered it for generations. His joke basically suggested that if someone joins a family that famous, they likely already know what kind of spotlight comes with it. The crowd laughed loudly, not necessarily because everyone agreed, but because the observation was delivered in that classic stand-up style where a simple idea becomes a big comedic moment. Other comedians soon followed with their own takes. Bill Maher, during one of his television discussions, questioned the way certain stories were framed in the media. His angle focused on the idea that public narratives can sometimes become exaggerated as they travel through interviews, headlines, and social media conversations. In his usual sarcastic tone, he joked about the strange contradiction of writing a book about wanting less attention, while simultaneously promoting that same book across multiple interviews and appearances. That theme, the contrast between privacy and publicity, kept coming up in comedy routines. Andrew Schultz, known for his energetic podcast and stand-up style, also commented on the situation.
Do you think your sister, Meghan Markle, has ruined Prince Harry?
The answer is yes. He's duplicitous, self-centered, vile, disloyal, hypocrite.
She is an absolute user of the media. She uses every conceivable way to try and play the victim and score points.
He is more than twice the most disliked celebrity in the world. More than twice the level of dislike than P. Diddy.
He joked that the idea of being a public victim while living in a massive California mansion felt confusing to some audiences. In his routine, he played up that contrast for laughs, suggesting the situation had layers of irony that comedians couldn't resist pointing out. Another angle that appeared in comedy was the cultural difference between American and British views of royalty. Andrew Schultz even joked that Americans historically moved away from the idea of royalty centuries ago, so the intense attention around royal drama sometimes feels distant to American audiences. The joke landed well because it tapped into a long-standing piece of American history. Then British comedian Jimmy Carr entered the conversation with his own dry humor. Carr often jokes about how history tends to follow public figures no matter how much they try to reinvent themselves. In one of his routines, he joked that public reputations can be a bit like old costumes in a theater closet. Even when you try to switch outfits, people still remember the last role you played. By that point, it was clear that comedians from both sides of the Atlantic had turned the royal storyline into ongoing material. Whether viewers agreed with the jokes or not, the topic had clearly become part of the global comedy circuit. As the conversation kept spreading through the comedy world, another topic started popping up in jokes: the financial side of the royal debate. Some commentators in Britain questioned whether it made sense for public funding or royal connections to still be part of the discussion while the couple was living in the United States. That idea quickly turned into comedy material, especially for performers who enjoy pointing out contradictions in public life.
You just can't keep faking it. It's too hard.
Higher, bitch! Opposite. I mean, that's just another one of the malarkey stories she sold to the royal family for sympathy.
It seems like that lady is a temptress. She's a siren. She's lured him into the rocks.
You can't really see what is happening as a family unit. This photo represents the state of this couple's marriage and their life in general.
British audiences, in particular, tend to follow royal finances very closely. So when comedians started discussing the situation, the topic often centered on expectations surrounding royal responsibilities versus personal independence. Some hosts joked that the situation looked confusing from the outside, stepping away from royal duties while still being connected to royal. Headlines created a storyline that writers simply couldn't resist. And then the conversation took another turn when one of the biggest podcast personalities in the world became part of the story. Joe Rogan mentioned Prince Harry during one of his comedy appearances after learning that Harry had once commented on Rogan's podcast during an interview. Rogan joked about the surprising moment, saying it must be strange to wake up one morning, turn on the television, and suddenly find yourself being discussed by a member of the royal family. In Rogan's usual storytelling style, he framed it as a bizarre crossover between two completely different worlds, royal traditions and modern podcast culture. His audience laughed at the idea that someone known for long-form podcast conversations could suddenly become part of a royal media discussion. Moments like that highlight how unpredictable celebrity stories can become once they spread through different entertainment spaces. Other comedians and commentators had their own interpretations as well. Tim Dillon, known for his bold and satirical podcast style, shared thoughts about how celebrity relationships sometimes appear to blend personal connections with career moves. His commentary suggested that in Hollywood and media culture, partnerships can sometimes be viewed through a strategic lens, a mix of personal chemistry and professional opportunity. Whether audiences agree or not, Dillon's take sparked plenty of debate among listeners. Comedian Godfrey also joined the broader discussion while talking about celebrity branding and public image. In one segment, he compared how certain public figures carefully shape the way they appear during interviews and podcasts. When Meghan Markle later appeared in a long-form conversation with entrepreneur Jamie Kern-Lima, some comedians noted how different these relaxed podcast environments feel compared to traditional interviews. Without strict time limits, guests can talk for hours, which sometimes leads to moments that audiences analyze very closely.
And this is sweet. Meghan Markle said she has a finger they can use if they need.
Let's finally show that if you're a brand, it's toxic to invest. I mean, no brand is going to invest at the moment.
2 months, 3 months, hit the baby, come on, when I step into your house.
She's supposedly 9 months pregnant in the hospital room, dancing with a big belly. Harry's there too. She's kind of twerking. She's gonna twerk. Here comes Harry. She spreads her legs. She hikes her dress. She circles her genitals. And for her to need to make it into an ego trip, which she's clearly doing. Look at me dancing. I'm still fun and I'm sexy and I have this great marriage. And here's Harry being like a normal guy is disrespectful, I think, to the moment, to the child, and truly to like the sanctity of what goes on for any humans who are actually in that situation. She's drunk on her own ego.
One commentator who tried to take a more balanced approach was Simon Brodkin, a comedian known for satirical observations. He mentioned watching the entire Netflix documentary featuring Harry and Meghan with the intention of understanding their perspective more clearly. His takeaway was that the series began with serious discussions about real issues, but gradually shifted toward moments that felt more like a celebrity brand story than a formal explanation. According to Brodkin's commentary, that shift in tone is part of what keeps the conversation alive in comedy circles. When a documentary promises to reveal personal truths but also includes polished lifestyle moments, comedians often see a perfect setup for satire. The mix of emotional storytelling and celebrity-style presentation created 6 full hours of content, and for comedy writers, that meant 6 hours of potential punchlines waiting to be explored. As the Netflix documentary continued making its way around the internet, reactions from audiences became a major talking point. Some viewers said they appreciated hearing Harry and Meghan explain their experiences in detail. Others felt the series leaned heavily into personal storytelling and celebrity branding, and once again, comedians quickly turned those reactions into material. Several commentators joked that the documentary was meant to create empathy, but instead it sometimes sparked even more debate online. Comedy writers noticed how strongly people reacted to certain moments, and that made the topic almost impossible for entertainers to ignore. When a story triggers strong reactions on both sides, comedians usually see it as perfect setup for satire. Even John Oliver, who is known for approaching topics with a careful and analytical tone, briefly touched on the broader conversation surrounding the royal couple. Oliver tends to frame his commentary around how public figures handle criticism and change over time. In one discussion, he suggested that when someone becomes very protective of their image, it can make growth or self-reflection harder. His comment wasn't delivered as a punchline, but it still added another perspective to the ongoing debate. But the real turning point in the comedy world came when animated satire joined the conversation. When cartoon shows begin referencing real-world figures, it usually means the story has fully entered pop culture territory. That's exactly what happened when South Park released an episode clearly inspired by the ongoing headlines surrounding royal life, media tours, and privacy debates.
Hypocrisy is beyond anything I've ever seen.
In the tape, she's performing a sex act on him that's unbelievable.
She wants all of the privileges that go along with an identity, but she doesn't want any of the responsibility. She doesn't want to do any of the work. She wants the tiara. She doesn't want the public.
It's Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. She ranked above the likes of Bill Cosby and Sean Diddy Combs. I think this was the kind of list that Meghan was hoping she was going to make in her new rebrand, relaunch.
Is the cringiest, most uncomfortable piece of tape I've seen in a long time.
You might want to try the combo Andrew, Island, and Epstein.
The episode exaggerated the situation with over-the-top humor, portraying a fictional royal couple traveling around the world while loudly announcing how much they wanted privacy. The running joke quickly became a viral meme online. Viewers shared clips everywhere, and phrases from the episode started appearing in social media captions and parody videos. South Park has a long history of turning public figures into exaggerated cartoon characters, so their take on the situation followed the same formula. The show often highlights contradictions in celebrity culture, especially when someone speaks about privacy while also appearing in interviews, documentaries, or media campaigns. Whether audiences agreed with the joke or not, the episode made it clear that the royal storyline had become a full-blown cultural phenomenon. Another satirical show, Spitting Image, also created sketches inspired by the couple. The program is famous for its puppet-based parodies of politicians and celebrities, often exaggerating personality traits for comedic effect. In their version, Meghan's character was portrayed as a lifestyle guru giving dramatic advice about everyday tasks, while Harry appeared slightly overwhelmed by the chaos around him. The humor leaned heavily on exaggerated contrasts, on ridiculous. presenting simple actions like breathing or relaxing as if they were profound lessons. The sketches also played with the idea that public images can appear polished until someone challenges them, at which point the performance breaks down into comedic chaos.
It Suits actress Meghan Markle married some unemployed dude who still lives with his grandma.
Wait, it's going to be a massive bomb.
Woman looks to me like a malignant narcissist. This woman has zero self-awareness.
Why a lot of these celebrities that start these things, they can't keep up. You know, like the Meghan Markle.
You're the same.
You're the same.
Like, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, guys, you don't got to do this. Please, I'm begging you to stop.
Interestingly, the satire sparked controversy of its own. Some of the videos were eventually removed from certain platforms after legal complaints were raised about the portrayals. The situation became another example of how satire can sometimes walk a fine line between humor and public reaction. But regardless of those debates, one thing was clear. When animated shows and puppet parodies start dedicating entire sketches to a story, it means the topic has fully crossed into the world of global pop culture commentary. As the conversation around these comedy sketches continued online, another interesting twist entered the story. Some parody videos and animated segments that once circulated widely eventually disappeared from certain platforms. The exact reasons weren't always clear, and there hasn't been any confirmed explanation about who might have raised legal concerns. Still, moments like that often spark curiosity. When satire suddenly vanishes from the internet, people naturally start wondering what happened behind the scenes. Animation and parody have always been powerful forms of commentary because they can preserve a joke for years. Once a clip spreads across social media, it often lives on through reposts, edits, and reaction videos. That's why some comedians say animated satire hits differently than a quick late-night monologue. A TV joke might air once and fade away, but a viral cartoon clip can keep circulating long after the original broadcast. At this point, the broader comedy world had clearly embraced the royal storyline as ongoing material. From stand-up specials to late-night monologues and animated shows, different comedians approached the topic from their own angles. Some focused on celebrity culture, others highlighted the contrast between royal tradition and modern entertainment branding. Regardless of perspective, the story became one of those pop culture discussions that keeps resurfacing whenever new headlines appear. Another layer of speculation often discussed by commentators involves the couple's media partnerships. Projects with large streaming platforms and podcast networks have brought both attention and scrutiny.
It was a sex tape about her.
And I saw.
She's so full of shit. Voice is driving me crazy and I'm about to jump over there and put my fists down your throat.
She is doing a cooking show on Netflix. I only watched 5 seconds of it and I thought she was going to cut her wrist by trying to zest a lemon. This girl has never been in the kitchen in her life.
I just think she's crying for sympathy, playing the victim when there's nothing to be a victim about, and there's also no sympathy to be granted for this lifestyle that she's chosen to live.
When deals evolve or change direction, people in the entertainment world naturally start debating what it means for the future of a public brand. Some analysts believe the couple is still exploring new creative ideas, while others think the public conversation surrounding them has simply become too complicated. What's fascinating is how comedians often notice shifts in public perception long before traditional media commentary catches up. Stand-up performers and podcast hosts tend to speak more freely, which means they sometimes reflect audience reactions in real time. When several comedians begin joking about the same topic repeatedly, it usually means that the story has firmly entered the cultural spotlight. At the same time, both Harry and Meghan continue pursuing different projects and appearances, which suggests their public story is still evolving. Some commentators believe the couple may eventually focus on separate creative paths, while others think they'll continue collaborating on new ventures together. Right now, it's all speculation. And that uncertainty is exactly what keeps the conversation alive. What do you think about the way comedians have reacted to this entire situation? Do you believe the public image around Meghan Markle could eventually shift again, or do you think the comedy world has already locked in its narrative? Let us know what you think down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown of celebrity moments and comedy reactions, make sure to like the video, share it with someone who follows royal news, and subscribe for more celebrity drama and pop culture stories. Also, don't forget to check out the next video appearing on your screen right now. It dives into another surprising celebrity story that has people talking everywhere. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.